Dexter, early cuts. Gene Marshall. Gene was a real estate mogul and arsonist who set fire to his own apartment complex, killing 7 residents. Declared mentally unfit and briefly institutionalized after paying off his psychiatrist Dr. Greenstein. He was freed and returned to luxury living. Later, Dexter subdued him at his mansion, placed him on a kill table, and punctured his throat, having to go help Deborah. Dexter shoved him in the trunk. When he opened the trunk, Thornton attacked. Dexter knocked him out with a flashlight, then ran over his head. Dismembered remains were burned in a barrel, which misfired and exploded, prompting the purchase of his boat, Slice of Life, to dump body parts offshore. Alex Timmons. Alex was a discharged U.S. Marine sniper who continued killing civilians after returning home, using long-range rifle shots as his primary method. His known victims span multiple ages, consistent with an opportunistic, distance-based MO rather than a specific victim profile.
I used to hunt as a kid, but that was just animals.
Those people are animals.
He is one of Dexter's earliest documented kills, and the first case to prompt Dexter's blood slide trophy habit. Timmons appears in both an on-screen flashback and the Early Cuts web series, which depict his capture and death at close range after admitting to the murders. Max and Coleman Lindquist. A father-son killing team operating around the December holidays, the Lindquists targeted couples made up of a prostitute and her client. Coleman carried out the hands-on murders of the prostitutes and delivered the clients to Max, who then killed the men. The timing corresponded to the date Max's wife, Coleman's mother, left the family. Their pattern produced a string of linked homicides before they were overpowered by Dexter.
I came here for proof that Coleman Lindquist has been killing women. I found my proof. A lot more than I bargained for. How exciting.
He restrained them both under plastic, got a 2-in-1 blood slide, and disposed of their bodies at the underwater dump site. Cindy Landon. Cindy was a black widow who marries elderly men and kills them to inherit their money. She works as a magician's assistant and uses her shows to project a harmless persona while planning the next murder. Her confirmed victims include at least 2 prior husbands, one pushed down a staircase, and another killed by doubling his heart medication dose. A third husband is identified by Dexter as her current target at the time she is intercepted.
You could show me tonight, if you're free. It's okay. I'm married, too.
I can keep a secret if you can.
He lures her to a late-night meeting and places her inside a magician's box for the classic saw the woman in half trick. Then Dexter saws her in half with a chainsaw. Peter Thornton. Peter was Dr. Robert Milson's graduate teaching assistant. After covertly witnessing Dexter kill Milson, Thornton imitates the method and escalates into a copycat offender. His known history includes killing his father years earlier, then murdering a student, Jenna Lincoln, with a knife to the heart and bludgeoning a campus security guard to engineer a confrontation. The pattern shows fixation on replicating Dexter's setup rather than a coherent personal MO.
Got your note. I was hoping to hear from you.
You put on quite a show.
I could say the same.
And you aren't upset at what I did?
Dr. Milson got what he deserved.
He is ultimately killed by Dexter. Dexter, original sin. Captain Aaron Spencer. A close friend of Harry Morgan and Miami Metro's homicide captain who maintained a strict, results-driven persona while secretly operating as the masked kidnapper who kidnapped and murdered children. One of them, Jimmy Powell, a judge's son. He also abducted and cut off his son, Nicky Spencer's finger as revenge against his unfaithful wife. His authority inside the department let him steer investigations away from himself, murder witnesses, and control tempo and access to investigations. After a first failed attempt, Dexter eventually drugged, then stabbed Spencer in the chest and dumped his body in Biscayne Bay. This betrayal of Harry's trust reinforced Dexter's role as judge, jury, and executioner. Brian Moser, the ice truck killer. Brian is Dexter's biological older brother. For 3 days, they survived in the shipping container massacre where their mother was murdered. Harry Morgan took both boys in. They adopted Dexter, but Brian scared them and was subsequently institutionalized, shaping a trajectory that later becomes evident in Original Sin. Brian begins hunting and killing people linked to his childhood trauma and quietly tracks Dexter for years without revealing himself. He is portrayed as an emerging serial killer, whose actions draw the attention of Harry Morgan and María LaGuerta. Dexter original TV series. In Dexter Season 1, Brian lives under the alias Rudy Cooper, working as a prosthetic specialist. His hallmark method is to drain victims of blood and then dismember them, often leaving staged, bloodless scenes and taunting anatomical messages left for Dexter. He embeds himself in Dexter's life by romancing Deborah, then abducting her when his cover begins to slip. When the truth came out, Brian offered Dexter a life without the code, but it meant killing Deborah. Dexter drugged him and placed him on his own table. Choosing his adoptive sister and the code over his blood brother, Dexter slit Brian's throat with a scalpel.
Sorry. I can't hear anymore.
Staging it as a suicide. James Doakes. James was a homicide sergeant and former Army Ranger who became the first colleague to seriously suspect Dexter's double life. He tracks Dexter aggressively on and off duty. Doakes conducts an off-book search of Dexter's apartment and discovers a hidden blood slide box in an air vent, then places a GPS on Dexter's boat and follows him to a remote cabin, where he witnesses Dexter handling dismembered remains. He attempts to apprehend Dexter, but is overpowered and locked in a cage at the cabin. Lila West later finds the cabin.
What the f*** are you doing? No! Turn that off! No!
In order to protect Dexter, detonates a propane explosion that kills Doakes. Investigators posthumously label him the Bay Harbor Butcher, closing the case. Years later, a recovered blood slide from another crime scene leads María LaGuerta to reopen the investigation in an effort to clear Doakes' name. Lila West. Lila is introduced as a Narcotics Anonymous sponsor and sculptor, whose primary weapon is fire. Her known homicides include an ex-boyfriend she admits died when she set his house ablaze while high on meth, and Sergeant James Doakes, whom she killed by triggering a propane explosion at the Everglades cabin where Dexter had him locked up. At first, she seemed to accept Dexter for who he was, but her obsession turned dangerous. She commits multiple arsons to manipulate outcomes, including burning her own loft for sympathy. After kidnapping Astor and Cody, she locks them and Dexter inside her apartment and sets it on fire.
Go, run! Find help!
Come on, Dexter!
All three escape. Lila flees to Paris, where Dexter later locates and kills her by a single stab to the heart. Miguel Prado. Miguel is an assistant district attorney who becomes Dexter's friend and first active accomplice. He studies Dexter's methods to serve his own wants and begins selecting targets that benefit his career and grudges. Prado's first confirmed homicide is Billy Fleeter, a dead enforcer. After Dexter sets up the takedown, Miguel personally performs the stabbing in a casino storeroom. Dexter then disposes of the body alone at sea. This event marks Miguel's transition from would-be vigilante to hands-on killer. Prado's solo murder is Ellen Wolfe, a defense attorney he viewed as a threat. He beats, stabs, and strangles her, then hides the body in a shallow grave at a cemetery, sloppy and traceable compared to Dexter's process. When María LaGuerta starts connecting him to Wolfe, Prado targets her next. Dexter intervenes by killing Miguel with a garrote and staging the scene to look like the Skinner killed him.
You little freak! You think I'm done with you? You think this ends here? It doesn't!
It does for you.
Police later accept that narrative, while Dexter takes no blood slide from Prado. George King, the Skinner. George runs a Miami tree trimming company while secretly torturing and killing people by skinning them alive to extract information. A former Nicaraguan military interrogator nicknamed the Blade, he begins hunting for Freebo after the dealer disappears, rationalizing his assaults as a matter of respect. His tools and method are consistent: sharp trimming knives, prolonged skin removal, and public body dumps. Some of his known victims in Miami are Tegan Campbell, Javier Garza, and Wendell Owen. King also kidnaps Anton Briggs and partially skins him before Deborah and Joey rescue him. These incidents establish his pattern: abduct, restrain, then skin and torture for answers. He also later abducts Dexter and ties him to a table. Dexter breaks free, snaps King's neck, and stages the death as suicide by dropping the body from an upper level as police arrive during the manhunt. Dexter escapes out the window, and the investigation closes with King deceased and blamed for Prado's death. Arthur Mitchell, Trinity Killer. Arthur is a long-running serial murderer who hides in plain sight as a church deacon, teacher, and charity volunteer. His multi-decade pattern spans U.S. cities while he kills in cycles. Each cycle includes a 10-year-old boy abducted, drugged, and buried alive in wet cement, a young woman killed in a bathtub by slicing the femoral artery, a married mother coerced into jumping from a high building, and a father bludgeoned with a hammer. After each murder, Arthur leaves a smudge of his sister's ashes at the crime scene. These acts reenact traumas from his childhood. Dexter studied him closely, hoping to learn how to balance dual lives, but ultimately discovered Arthur's family lived in terror.
I should have killed you when I had the chance.
Arthur is ultimately killed by Dexter, but before his death, he murders Rita in a bathtub and leaves their infant son sitting in a pool of his mother's blood, mirroring Dexter's childhood trauma, an act that directly impacts later events. Barrel Girl Gang. The Barrel Girl Gang is a closed group of 5 offenders: Jordan Chase, formerly Eugene Greer, Boyd Fowler, Cole Harmon, Dan Mendel, and Alex Tilden. who abducted, assaulted, and tortured women over many years, murdering 12 victims and storing bodies in industrial barrels later discovered by police. The investigation ultimately tied the case's origin to a teenage assault at summer camp engineered by Chase, who learned to manipulate others into doing the hands-on violence. Jordan acted as ringleader using psychological control. He generally avoided touching victims himself while directing others. Lumen made the final kill after she and Dexter took him down.
I'm sorry. I know that's not how you're supposed to do it.
Well, he was right about that part. There is no polite way.
Boyd worked county dead animal pickup. He handled logistics and performed the murders before being killed by Dexter early in the case. Cole, Chase's head of security, enforced control and carried out much of the physical torture. Dexter killed him in a hotel confrontation, narrowly saving Lumen's life. Dan was a children's dentist who participated in assaults and intimidation. Dexter killed him by snapping his neck after Lumen shot him. Alex was a banker who financed, participated, and attempted to buy Silence. Lumen killed him with Dexter assisting in the setup. Stan Litty. Stan is a former Miami Metro narcotics detective, fired after an internal affairs sting for prostitution. After losing his job, he is informally hired by Detective Joey Quinn to investigate Dexter and becomes fixated on proving criminal activity as leverage to get his badge back. Litty conducts illegal surveillance. He signs out police gear under Quinn's name, plants equipment to monitor Dexter's home, tails his boat, and secretly records Dexter and Lumen transporting a wrapped body. He also stages a minor car crash to obtain Lumen's identity and repeatedly extorts Quinn for more cash to continue the off-books probe. Litty escalates to direct coercion, tasing Dexter and trapping him inside a surveillance van, attempting to force a confession.
I don't have no search warrant, and these people are sticklers for rules, which is why you're gonna give me a full confession.
During the struggle, Dexter stabs Litty in the chest, killing him. Litty is one of the show's rare main antagonists who does not kill anyone on screen. Travis Marshall, Doomsday Killer. A paper conservation specialist at the Miami Cultural Center, Travis commits public apocalyptic-themed murders arranged as tableaus based on the Book of Revelation. He previously killed his mentor, Professor James Geller, then hallucinated him as a partner while carrying out the crimes. His direct victim count is listed at least 11, with additional indirect deaths tied to the displays. He kidnapped Harrison for a final sacrifice.
Stop! What? Get away from him! I killed you! Stay back! You're supposed to be dead.
Dexter saved his son, captured Travis, and took him to the same church where his spree began. There, Dexter secured him to the table and killed him with the sword Marshall had stolen. Deborah walked in on the crime scene, discovering Dexter's secret. It was then that Dexter dropped a blood slide, a mistake that led María LaGuerta to reopen the Bay Harbor butcher investigation. Isaak Sirko, Koshka Brotherhood boss. Isaak is a high-ranking leader of the Koshka Brotherhood, whose campaign in Miami is driven by revenge for his lover, Viktor Baskov, whom Dexter killed. He operates through a strip club front and leverages syndicate resources to identify and eliminate anyone tied to Viktor's death. Sirko kills Tony Rush, a club bouncer who leaked Viktor's name to the cops by stabbing him through the eye with a screwdriver. He executes Lewis Green with a single headshot on Dexter's boat after confirming the boat's owner. He coerces Alex Dobrozny into writing a suicide note and then shooting himself to stall the police probe, threatening the man's family to force compliance. He kills 3 members of the Rojas cartel at a bar with a bottle strike and head stomp. When Sirko's vendetta jeopardizes the Brotherhood's business, they turn on him and hire assassins to take him out.
I'll never do anything without the support of the Brotherhood. But I feel like something has to be done.
Dexter neutralizes Oleg Mikic, a sniper the Brotherhood rates highly, while Sirko personally shoots Benjamin Caffrey after Dexter lures him aboard a cargo ship. George Novikov ambushes Sirko and shoots him in the abdomen, dying. Sirko requests a burial at sea alongside Viktor, which Dexter carries out. María LaGuerta. María is Miami Metro Homicide's commanding officer, who reopens the Bay Harbor butcher inquiry after discovering a blood slide at Travis Marshall's crime scene. A private lab confirms the blood belongs to Travis Marshall, convincing her the butcher still operates and that James Doakes was wrongly blamed. She uses her authority to pull historic Bay Harbor case evidence from federal custody and quietly resumes the investigation with Dexter among her prime suspects. The pursuit culminates at the port's shipping yard, where LaGuerta is lured into a container via Hector Estrada. Dexter incapacitates her with M99, intending to stage a mutual shootout between LaGuerta and Estrada, but Deborah arrives and under extreme duress, shoots LaGuerta, killing her. The official case file records a reciprocal shooting between Estrada and LaGuerta, closing the investigation without implicating Dexter. Oliver Saxon, brain surgeon. Oliver, born Daniel Vogel, is a serial killer who removes a portion of each victim's anterior insular cortex, the brain region tied to empathy, using a saw and surgical tools, then often sends it to his mom as a taunt. He operates under a stolen identity and is later identified as the biological son of neuropsychiatrist Evelyn Vogel, having faked his death as a youth after setting a fatal fire at a psychiatric facility, killing 7 children. Among his other kills, he slit his mother, Evelyn Vogel's throat in front of Dexter. He also shoots Deborah Morgan while trying to escape, causing surgical complications, later rendering her brain dead. After arrest, Dexter confronts Saxon in an interview room.
Is that why you're here? Tell me all this.
No, I'm here to kill you with that pen.
He stabs him in the neck with a pen, made to look like self-defense. Dexter, New Blood. Kurt Caldwell, runaway killer. Kurt Caldwell is a decades-long serial killer in Iron Lake who targets runaway young women. His MO is consistent: imprison victims for days in a cabin, then release and shoot them with a rifle as they try to flee. He embalms most victims and displays the bodies as trophies in a hidden underground bunker. His confirmed victims include Angela Bishop's best friend, Iris Broussard, killed in his youth and hidden in the Clark Caves, and Molly Park, host of the Mary Effing Kill true crime podcast, among others. By the time he is stopped, 30 preserved bodies are stored in his bunker over 25 years. After connecting Dexter to his son's disappearance, Caldwell targets Dexter and Harrison and burns Dexter's cabin down in retaliation. He is arrested for Iris Broussard's murder, but released when the partial DNA match creates reasonable doubt. When Kurt rushes home to get his go-bag and skip town, Dexter and Harrison ambush him and restrain him on his embalming table in his bunker.
Do you have any idea the trauma that they were going to go through? I do. I saw it. I saw it firsthand, what my dad would do to them.
Hey! I told you no dad.
Dexter stabs him in the chest, then they cremate the remains at the Iron Lake Sanitation Incinerator, the same facility used to dispose of Matt's body. Leon Prater. In Resurrection, Leon Prater is a billionaire venture capitalist who recruits, funds, and curates active serial killers, inviting them to private dinner gatherings and housing their trophies and evidence in a fortified vault inside his Manhattan manor. He uses cash invitations, then leverages influence and security to protect the circle. He has indirect kills via orders to Charley, his head of security and enforcer. Charley is a former special operations operator who tracks, verifies, and escorts killers to Prater's events. Her motivation is bound to her mother's critical medical care, which Prater funds, driving her to follow his directives despite her personal disgust for Leon's de facto serial killer club. Prater's control escalates from patronage to coercion when he demands Dexter kill Angel Batista as the price of him financing Dexter's operation.
And rule number 1 is, don't get caught. We were partners once. Maybe we can be partners again.
When Dexter refuses and frees Batista, Leon impulsively shoots Batista in the back and kills him, then imprisons Dexter in the vault, leaving him to die. With Harrison's help, Dexter escaped, but returned when Prater targeted Harrison. Offering himself in exchange for his son's life, Dexter was refused. Harrison incapacitated Leon with M99, allowing Dexter to kill and dismember him. Before leaving, Dexter triggered the vault alarms so NYPD would uncover Prater's files and link him to Batista's murder, then dumped the remains in New York Harbor. Dexter didn't take a trophy, stating he didn't want to remember him. Everyone always talks about Dexter's most famous kills, but what about all of them? Every ritual, every code kill, every mistake, everybody that ever fell to any version of Dexter, on screen, off screen, and even on the page. If you think you know the full number, you might want to count again. Watch every single kill by every version of Dexter explained.